time last year, working from home might have been a luxury. Well, now, in many cases, it's a necessity. And that's changing everything in corporate America. On the front page centerpiece this week, the new math of the office. Real estate experts say the pandemic has primed the U.S. office market for years of disruption. Courier reporter Tom Demoropoulos talked about the new realities of office work with Kevin Hughes, managing principal of Cushman & Wakefield.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for joining us here this morning.
Well, thanks for having me, Tom.
Yeah. So, Kevin, where are we in terms of Cincinnati businesses returning to the office?
So consensus is that downtown occupancy is about 15%, suburbs probably closer to 25%, no difference between Ohio or Kentucky. First comments on downtown, where we have on our office. You know, building security is checking visitors and occupants to make sure they have their masks on before they get on the elevator. Incidentally, I've been coming into the office about 4 days a week since the beginning of June, probably 1 or 2 days a week in April and May. I have yet to get on the elevator with another human being. So, you know, it just shows you just how few people are coming down here to work. You know, it's difficult to find a restaurant and have lunch, that kind of thing. Suburbs, again, you know, you can just, it's a parking lot check and you get a pretty good idea of what's going on out there. I'll say this, global firms like ours, national firms, all have kind of these blanket policies in place that are obviously appropriate for major markets like New York, London, San Francisco, and those policies apply to us in Cincinnati. And consequently, you see the big national and global firms being much more cautious, more conservative about coming back to the office, where local offices, locally owned operations have had their people generally, and this is a generalization, but it's pretty accurate, you know, into the office, you know, a lot more than the big firms.
So, Kevin, what can companies do to augment collaboration and interaction that used to take place in the office when they're either not all in the office yet or they're still all working remotely?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? And I think a big challenge for management. In one sense, collaboration is probably better than ever. Let's call that deliberate collaboration. So, you know, we're scheduling time for collaboration, time for calls. It's typically project-based. And it's team-based. So within a team, I think collaboration and communication is maybe better than ever now. What's lost is they call it the incidental or occasional collaboration, the water cooler hallway talk, which is cultural glue, you know, and it's almost impossible to replicate that virtually. Like a lot of firms, I mean, we've had a bunch of Zoom calls, you know, and virtual happy hours and fun stuff, as well as our regular meetings, which is all fine, but people are tired of that. I find that people are a little fatigued with us trying to put fun stuff together for them to do artificially, and most of them really miss the social connections and, again, the community that exists, you know, here in the office. I think I'm very concerned about it. You know, we have the technology tools that would facilitate better communication, better casual conversations. We're not utilizing them very well. I think we need to be trained better at that, and we being both, you know, from top to bottom. So it's a big concern. I really worry about it. I know, you know, of people who feel disconnected now. The very same people who, after the first couple months of pandemic, really felt wonderful about the company, you know, being really deliberate about creating community and collaboration. Today, they're kind of worn out and feel isolated, and you know, it's a big concern because, you know, we're still probably in the early innings of this. It's going to be a long slog here to get back to what used to feel normal.
Yeah. Do you see, you know, because of that, do you see local companies starting to make decisions on the amount of office space that they have, or make other big changes with their real estate in the near future, or are they still holding off on those longer term decisions?
Yeah, your question was about local companies. My answer would be about just companies in general. It's all over the board, of course. With some firms, just the uncertainty out there is paralyzing them. We're seeing a lot of companies, clients make knee-jerk decisions and are dumping a lot of space out for sublease. We don't agree with all this, by the way. Clearly, the office of the future is going to be different, but I don't think it's going. I don't think, especially here in Cincinnati. I mean, if you're asking questions about office use in Manhattan, that's a totally different challenge, right? But I think here in Cincinnati, how we design space and use space is clearly going to be different. But I think that we've got a lot of time to work through that still, I believe.
Yeah, great. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time here this morning, and it's great to speak with you.